Welcome to Hot Bread Kitchen Market. Please welcome the CEO of the Union Square Hospitality Group, Danny Meyer. The Executive Director of the NYC Hospitality Alliance, Andrew Ridgie. The CEO of Hot Bread Kitchen, Leslie Abbey. And please welcome the 57th Governor of the great state of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. They say bread is life. Life is occurring right here. I just came through an amazing tour of a kitchen where young people are being launched on incredible careers. And I actually took a couple lessons on how to slice and dice without losing any of your fingers. So it was very important to me. So I want to thank everyone who's been involved in this. Leslie Abbey, the vision behind Hot Bread Kitchen, using the former studios of the Food Network right here in Chelsea, to be a place where young people and people of all ages can learn skills that are so highly in demand right now. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of employers all over because we've become a foodie nation. You know, growing up, if we had macaroni and cheese and Spam, it was a good night, okay? So I love the fact that we've evolved to a place where we actually value how our food is prepared and what the ingredients are and who makes them. And so they are on the cusp of a great future, and I want to thank everyone here for their engagement in making this happen. I also want to recognize our senator from here, Senator Brad Hoylman. This is your neighborhood. Great things going on here. Andrew Ridgie is here, who will be speaking shortly from the NYC Hospitality Alliance. Andrew, you've had a lot on your plate, so to speak, especially during the pandemic. I know we worked closely together at a time when our city was struggling. It was literally brought down to its knees. People were not going out to the restaurants. And we innovated, as we do always in New York. We innovated with outdoor dining and the takeout, and we had drinks to go, and everybody was happy again. But you were there during the darkest hour, and I thank you as well. Also, one of our homegrown heroes of this industry, someone who has given such a credibility to everyone in the hospitality industry by his passion for not just his work, but also for doing right. We think about, my mother used to always say, go into the world and do well, but more importantly, go into the world and do good. Danny Meyer does that every single day, and I want to thank you for what you've done at Union Square Hospitality and just being so engaged and so concerned about the community at large and the people that be given opportunities to have the dignity of a good job. And so Danny Meyer, you'll be hearing from him as well. Let's give him a round of applause. For months I've been saying the key to solving the asylum seeker crisis, and it's a crisis because of the volume of people, the key is so simple, it's so crystal clear. They came to work, so let's put them to work. Let's do that. And the question was, will there be people ready to hire them? And that was the unknown. That is something we weren't sure. Will there be enough businesses? And today we're here to highlight a business, before I make our announcement, to an industry that showed up. And I mentioned Leslie a minute ago, but Hot Bread Kitchen, not just hosting us here today, but stepping up to help our neighbors in a time of their greatest need. And I thank you for that. And all of our other individuals who are part of this story. Our state continues to face two simultaneous, really intense problems that need to be solved, a crisis we would call them. One is the humanitarian crisis that has unfolded over the last 15 months. People coming here in search of a better life, search of a job. But also the crisis of a workforce shortage, worker shortage. And what we have realized is that it's not solved. You can't go create a hologram of a person to go work in a job. You need real people. And this state has always thrived by embracing people from other countries, other lands, people coming without knowing the language. Maybe they didn't have a lot of skills, but they were given a chance. And that's what we're talking about here today, giving people that chance. The challenge for us now is there's so many jobs open that it actually has potential to cripple our economy if we don't find more people to take these jobs. It is that dire. Something that is completely foreign to me as someone who grew up in an old Rust Belt area of the state, now emerged with a new identity, a new mojo, if you will. But Buffalo was a place that I grew up, and the jobs were just fleeing out the door. Unemployment rate was 15, 17, 18%. And the thought that we'd ever get unemployment under 4% was just, it would never happen in my lifetime. Well, I'm really proud that since I've been governor for 2 years, unemployment has dropped 42%, going from 6.9% to 3.9%. And so what that means is, that's good. It means if you want a job, you'll find one. But what does that do to the employers who can only exist because of the manpower, the woman power that comes from workers? So we have a 2-for-1 solution here. Now we have all these people who want to be here. I have all these jobs that are open. You marry the two together and you've solved the problems. So last month, I directed our State Department of Labor, and Roberta Reardon, I want to thank her for what she has done, especially during the pandemic, getting billions of dollars out to people who needed that unemployment check just to be able to survive without their job. I want to thank you and your team. But now Roberta and her team have stepped up to help me with another crisis. And we asked them to identify and start connecting employers with eligible asylum seekers and migrants who are on the path to work authorizations. We stood up a portal. Doesn't sound real exciting in life. Oh, you have a portal stood up. This is a big deal. This is a big deal, because we wanted to have a registration process ready to go, in place. So when the migrants could finally work, and we did this, we didn't know at the time how long it would take, whether or not we'd get the support we wanted from the federal government, because until that time, it would take 180 days at least before someone could apply. Now, with this opportunity that was announced literally on September 20th, 12 days ago, less than 2 weeks ago, the Biden administration heard our calls, our pleas for help, and said, at least can we get temporary protective status for the Venezuelans? What does that mean? It means that 40% of the people who came here through jungles and mountains and rivers and incredible adversity, they found their way to New York. 40% from the country of Venezuela, because of the Biden administration's actions, are now eligible to have work authorizations and TPS, temporary protective status, in 30 days. And those who came before July 31st are actually eligible for this. So this is the best news we could have had in this short time frame as we've been trying to find solutions to this problem. So I want to say, when we put out the call, not sure what the answer would be to employers, are you willing to consider hiring these people once they can start working? And literally tomorrow, the window opens for people to start applying for TPS. And luckily for me, because I tested it out, the app is simple, it's not cumbersome, it's easy to do, and we're going to have literally hundreds of people out there trying to help identify them. But the question I had was, will the employers be interested in this program? Well, guess what? We already have nearly 400 employers who stood up, who said, yes, yes, we will embrace them, we'll hire them, we'll give them that shot at the American dream that they've wanted for themselves and their families. So as soon as they're able to work, we'll have the people available. But how many jobs does almost 400 employers equate to? 18,000 jobs are already available, waiting for people who signed up in the portal. So that's incredible. That can help solve our problems, and at least be a start toward reducing the number of people who need shelter in our city. And I'm really proud of these individuals who said, yes, sort of leaping into the unknown. How is this going to work? What should I do? But they put their names on the dotted line, so to speak, or on their iPads, however they did it. But over 50% are from New York City. That means upstate New York has responded as well. This is not just city-driven. 25% are in hospitality, 21% are in health or social services, 10% are manufacturing, 5% retail, and 5% construction. So that's where people can work. And don't assume these are all low-skill individuals. Venezuela was once a very prosperous country. Their economy was based on oil. They sent oil around the world. They used to send it to the United States until the embargo. But once they had a change in leadership, if you call it that, dictator, also crime, gangs took over the streets, political chaos, economic decline, and the loss of the ability to sell oil, their country spiraled. And that's why people are fleeing Venezuela. For the first time, we do not have a Venezuelan population because people didn't have to leave that country before. They stayed home. So now those individuals who came before July 31st, as I have to reinforce that, will be eligible to take these jobs. So I'm so proud of the businesses who exemplified to me what's best about our state. They said yes. They remind us that this is the state that has the Statue of Liberty standing in our harbor. And we see that symbol of freedom and a place that my own grandparents passed on that ship that brought them from great poverty in Ireland to be able to be migrant farm workers in South Dakota where the jobs were. That's how people had to go, how far they had to go. And then they could get jobs as domestic servants in Chicago. So yes, we're getting better. Things are looking up. But then they found their way to the promised land of Buffalo, New York. Yes. Could you found a little warmer place, Grandma and Grandpa? But that's all right. But that's because they could work in the steel industry. Grandpa worked that hot work. I used to see the pictures of the coke ovens. It's amazing people survived that, what he was breathing in. But it was a good job for him. He raised 8 kids in a tiny house. And my dad worked there, my uncles worked there, and that was the start of it. But they all came past that Statue of Liberty, like millions and millions of our descendants, our family members. Let's never forget that. Let's never forget that. And this state was built on that premise. And earlier today, I spoke to the Partnership for New York, and we talked to, there were probably close to 200 businesses there. We talked about how we're putting out that call for help. Yes, we need help in Washington. We need help to control the borders. Yes, we do. We need to focus on the borders and make sure that people who really are eligible for asylum are the ones coming in. But I can't control that. I have to deal in the realities of today, the cards we've been dealt, so to speak, and to make sure that we never lose our sense of humanity for these people. So we will make this work. We're going to start the process literally tomorrow. We have allocated over $50 million from the state to the city to support local hands-on groups that are out there in the community right now, identifying the Venezuelans, getting the paperwork filled out, getting the app processed, if that's the route they're going to take, and literally get them connected to these jobs. So the legal services, the case management, the asylum processing, it's all going on simultaneously. You don't see it, but it's happening in shelters and in offices. We gave state office space to the federal government, invited them here to help us process this faster. So we can only help those who are here. We're going to do that. We're going to focus on them. But we also have to be conscious of the fact that this is not an open invitation to the entire world. We don't have enough capacity to house people. We just don't. So our hearts are big, but sometimes you have to realize our resources are limited. And that's the dual problem we have right now. So to be able to take care of these Venezuelans, encourage people to go to other places as well is something we have to continue to do, because we have to manage the fact that there's 125,000 people right now, up until tomorrow, have not been eligible to work and have relied on public support for housing. And so that is not a sustainable dynamic. It is just not sustainable in the long term, but we've dealt with it. We've dealt with it, and that is what we've worked on. So I'm going to call on businesses to sign up even more. I am hopeful and continue to press Washington and Congress to open up those work authorizations to more people, because again, the Venezuelans is a good start, but it's not going to take care of the people who've come in from Mauritania and Congo and other parts of South America and Central America, West Africa. We have people from Iraq and Afghanistan coming, people from Russia are coming, because everyone's finding their ways to that southern border. And that's where we need to have more thoughtful controls at that as well. So we are going to be able to solve this. People want to work hard, they always do. It's part of who we are. And I'll tell you, as long as I'm governor, we'll never forget who we are. remind ourselves we are that great city, we are that great state that people have always emulated. People have always been attracted to come to New York City because of who we are and how welcoming and good we are to our people. So I want to thank everyone who's been involved in this process thus far, and I want to thank our great friend here, Leslie Abbey, to come up and talk about what you're doing right here and the opportunities that we're going to be able to give the people who are in the yellow shirts all around here today. Hello, everybody. But also to those who are coming from another country, who are so desperate to get the skills they need so they can go into jobs at places that Andrew and Danny can point them to. So that's how it's all going to work out here, and I want to thank everyone involved thus far. Let me bring up Leslie Abbey. Thank you.
Thank you so inspiring. Thank you so much. Wow. Inspiring morning. Thank you. Thank you, Governor Hochul, for joining us at Hot Bread Kitchen today. Really, thank you for such inspiring words. I think we have been, as doing what we do, and also just as New Yorkers, as citizens of this great city and the great state, trying to figure out how to kind of step in where the answers are. And we're just really so inspired by the steps that you are taking, so thank you. And also thank you, Commissioner Reardon and Senator Hoylman as well for joining us. And thanks to everyone else in attendance for showing your support for the work that New York State is doing to support asylum seekers' work authorization. Thank you all for being here. Just 2 minutes about Hot Bread Kitchen. Hot Bread Kitchen promotes economic opportunity in New York, utilizing what we call the vibrant New York City food industry as a catalyst. We provide culinary training to hundreds of women, gender-expansive people, immigrants, and people of color each year, many of whom are here, as we said, in the yellow shirts, taking a break from their class right now in the kitchen across the hall. And we place our members, and we call them members because once a member of Hot Bread Kitchen, always a member of Hot Bread Kitchen. We provide all sorts of support. We provide English for speakers of other languages, contextualized for food. Folks can come back whenever they need to get support from us. But we place our members in high-quality jobs with over 250 employer partners in New York City. And we also create jobs in the city's robust and very important food industry by incubating new small food businesses owned by women, nearly all of whom are immigrants or people of color. And I just want to say that Hot Bread Kitchen wholeheartedly supports providing work authorization to asylum seekers in New York, period. We have been trying to figure out how to support the effort to do what we can. We are so thrilled that steps are being made, and we will be there to do whatever it is that we can do to support your efforts and the state's efforts. We fully applaud all that Governor Hochul is doing to promote the ability of migrants in the city to work, and Hot Bread Kitchen stands ready and able to support those who want to enter the food industry and know that the New York City food industry needs the talent, grit, and creativity of the migrants coming to New York. So thank you again, Governor, for championing this critically important issue. Thank you so much. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Andrew Riggi, the Executive Director of the New York City Hospitality Alliance. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, you come up to these podiums and there's so many different things that you're thinking about. And this place, Hot Bread Kitchen, I'm just reading, opportunities for professional, personal, and economic growth. And that is really at the core of what we're talking about. Anybody who works, owns a restaurant in our city's hospitality industry knows about the perseverance of what it takes to make a life become successful in this industry. It doesn't just happen. It takes a lot and a lot of hard work. And when I think about all the folks that have come to New York City seeking asylum, that's what they want. They want to work hard. They want opportunity. And we know that our city's restaurant industry represents that opportunity. The backgrounds of people from every walk of life, is our city's hospitality industry. It doesn't matter what kind of cuisine, what kind of restaurant, what kind of food, what kind of experience you want. You can get it here in New York City. And it's the restaurant capital of the world because we are the human capital of the world. And since day one, we stood here with the governor, and we're so grateful for your leadership, the senator, the commissioner, and so many other folks, our elected leaders, our advocates, our restaurateurs, many of whom are in the room. I see Melba, the president of the Hospitality Alliance here, and so many others who have said, let us give these folks an opportunity to work. We hear about the strains all of this crisis is putting on all of our city's services, our state services. People came here not for a handout, but become self-sufficient, and they can become self-sufficient by getting jobs, learning skills, taking the skills that they already have and applying them to our local businesses. This is a country of opportunity. This is a city of opportunity. This is an industry of opportunity. And you know, the second that we heard we're probably going to be able to get expedited work authorization, the temporary protected status. We put out some calls just to a handful of restaurateurs and said, you know, we think we may have some folks to come and work. And they said, okay, great, what do I need to do? We put together a quick call. Before we knew it, we had hundreds of restaurants representing thousands and thousands of available jobs that have stood up, came to the plate and said, I'm ready to hire them. They've been submitting through the state's Department of Labor portal, making sure that the state knows they're ready to hire when the folks become eligible, and that's what we're going to do. And through the Hospitality Alliance, we are absolutely committed to working with you, Governor, and everyone to make sure these folks get the opportunities to provide for themselves, for their families, continue to make New York City the restaurant capital of the world, and really just contribute what they have over the years, because people, like I said, have come from everywhere to work in our industry. So we're grateful to be here today. Again, it's perseverance. We got here. It took some time. It took work. It took advocacy. But this is a great, great step. So I want to thank everyone. Again, thank the governor. And now I have to introduce someone who is a friend who so many people know for, yes, his restaurants, yes, the service. But the thing that restaurateur Danny Meyer has really shown so many folks, not only locally, but around the globe in the hospitality industry, that hospitality is about people. It's about that human connection. It's about how you make people feel. And part of how you make people feel is when they come to you. Do you open your doors? Do you provide them opportunity? Do you help teach them skill sets? Do you also learn from their experience to make them better? And I feel so strongly that Danny, throughout his years with Union Square Hospitality Group and throughout his restaurants, has always kept that at the essence, making this a people business. And that's why I can't even say how many calls and meetings we've been in over the past couple of months where Danny Meyer has been there. And he's a busy guy, but he has made time, because when things are important, you make time. So I want to welcome Danny Meyer up and just want to thank everyone again.
Thank you so much, Andrew, and good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining your voices in something that seems so obvious to all of us, and yet without the leadership of Governor Hochul, we would not be in this room. This is something that you have understood. It seems so obvious, doesn't it? You described it as marrying a need with an opportunity. It seems so obvious, and yet this is something that we have a national problem. We have an international problem. A lot of where we sit today was foisted upon us. We did not ask for this. Our mayor did not ask for this. Our governor did not ask for this. Our local officials, our state senators did not ask for this. And yet here we are. And we have two choices. We can either say, look at this crisis that happened to us, or we could say, look at this opportunity that if we really marshaled our hearts and our minds, could happen for us. And the for in this is an opportunity to staff up for the first time since COVID. We can do this. Andrew, your leadership in terms of marshaling the hospitality industry here in New York City has been wonderful. The fact that everybody wants to help because it's in our self-interest to help right now is quite remarkable. But now we face this moment where The floodgates are starting to come open as of tomorrow. What are we going to do with that opportunity? We have to show that all of our advocacy for accelerated work permits is the real thing. We've got to show up with the jobs right now. Hot Bread Kitchen, thank you for the role that you're playing in training people, because it's not just add people. You have to make sure that when people get a new job, that they have a fighting chance to succeed at that job. But I'm confident we'll do it. And when we do it, our restaurants will be all the better for it. Andrew, you just got done saying restaurants are people and they are communities. If you've ever worked in a restaurant, you know that one of the great joys of working in a restaurant is you get this kind of adjunct family of people. The more diverse, the better. The more stories from the more parts of the world, the better. And when we do solve this and we start to add people who have been through incredible adversity because they chose to be here, think what that's going to do for the rest of our teams. Think about the strength and mettle that that's going to give everyone else who's there to be working shoulder to shoulder with someone who really wants to be there in the biggest possible way. We're going to be a better city and a better hospitality industry when we do this. And when we do succeed, first with the people who, as of tomorrow, will be able to apply to work, then let's continue our advocacy in Washington. And again, Governor Hochul, thank you. You don't get the credit you deserve, I think, for what you did to prevail upon people in Washington to overcome the political fears that they may have had to solve what seems to us to be a very obvious problem. And you prevailed with them, and we thank you for that as well. But when we succeed at bringing in the Venezuelan population, let's take it to the next step, and I'm confident we will. Thank you all very, very much.